Good afternoon, everybody. It is Sunday here in Canton, Ohio, and it was a sunny day, and then it started to rain, so it's a bit of a rainy day, so I'm doing another video inside, and yeah, looking forward to this tasting today. It's something I've had before, but I did not get a chance to do a tasting on video, so that'll be great. My phone is a little unstable with the way I have this this stand, so I'm hoping it doesn't fall over and collapse during the video. So before I get started on the tasting, I picked up something real cool for me. I think it's pretty cool. You guys already know what my favorite whiskey distillery is. Of course, that's Bruichladdich out of Scotland, and I found a bunch of these glasses on Amazon for a really super good price. These are usually really expensive, and they're Bruichladdich branded, so somebody probably got them from an event and then decided they didn't need them anymore, and they had 5 of them, and I bought all 5 because I figured might as well eventually someday do tastings with other people. So I got Glencairn tasting glasses. Now these are very specific. This is something I'm going to cover in a future video, the difference between glasses, but I want to get into it a little bit now. These are designed for tastings. They're not designed for just everyday, like just drinking out of. I mean, you can, but they're really not designed for it. They're designed with this special curved shape, this bell pear shape, to kind of aerate the spirit a little bit, so that when you put it in there, you can swirl it around, the air travels up, and when you smell it, you get more of that whiskey, of those whiskey scents right in the nose there. So I don't have anything in there, so you know, but just for demonstration, it's supposed to be able to give you like it's supposed to give you a better experience as far as the fumes and everything goes. And by that same token, as you kind of swirl it around, because of the design of the glass, it's supposed to help bring out some of the flavors a little bit as well. I haven't done any really exhausting testing 1 2 3. I haven't done any exhausting tests on whether this is any different in taste to my regular rocks glasses, or my tumblers, or my highballs, but I probably will, again, in a future video, because a future video is going to explain the differences between all those different things. A cocktail glass, a martini glass, a rocks glass, a highball glass, a Glencairn, a brandy snifter, all those different things I'm going to try to compare for you guys, so you have an idea of what they do to the taste of your spirits and the experience. Because some of it really doesn't change it a whole lot, but the overall experience can be different. So, anyway, Glencairn glasses. Now, what I'm going to be tasting today, again, I've already had this before, but this is a fresh bottle, so who knows? It's the Cedar Ridge American Single Malt Whiskey, the Quintessential is what they call it, and it's a signature blend. And this is 92 proof, and it's a slightly peated American whiskey, which is interesting. You don't get a lot of that in American whiskeys. You usually get that in scotches. You'll occasionally get it in certain Canadian whiskeys that are kind of experimental. And then I've found it once in an Irish whiskey, and it bills itself as the only heavily peated Irish whiskey, Irish single malt out there, and that's the Connemara, which I have over there on the private stock. Now, this I had with Rob and a few others on a trip down to West Virginia not too long ago, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It hit everybody a little hard, but good stuff anyway. And I'm looking forward to tasting again in a different environment for you guys right here. So let me go ahead and unseal that. Usually I try to unseal them before these so I don't take up a lot of time. This one's pretty easy to do. Sometimes you're sitting there peeling and peeling and peeling. It's kind of, come on. But this one's not so bad. I'm already a big fan of Cedar Ridge as it is. And I really liked this the last time I had it, and I have a second bottle, actually. This time I ordered 2 bottles. Good pop. I ordered 2 bottles, one for the private stock, and one for more weekly sipping. So, let's go ahead and pour that into the Glencairn. And in the bottle, it's kind of a reddish, burnt orange. In the glass, you can see a little bit of that, and it's a little clear. It's got a nice color, very rich, ruby honey kind of color to it, nice and bronzy. I'm going to go ahead and, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to smell it first. Might as well. It smells good. It's deceptive because it smells very mild, and it's not super strong. Like, it's not going to hit you in a way where you're just like, oh, fumes like a bourbon. But it does hit a little bit harder than it smells. It's stronger stuff. If I can get this cork back in there. There we go. Get that stopper back up. But you can taste, well, I haven't tasted it yet, of course. But you can smell some fruitiness in there. Smell a little bit of the peat, not very much. The peat doesn't show up until you get it in your mouth there and get it on the palate. And you can see how you can kind of swirl it around this glass and not really spill it too much. You got to be careful still, because I filled it up a little full. You're not supposed to fill it quite that full, I think. A little bit less than that if you're going to do a proper tasting. But I like whiskey. I want to drink more. So, smells good. Smells very mild. I'm going to drop my dropper. 1, 2, 3, I hear you saying along with me in your own way. While others are just like, get on with it, you talk about the drops every time. Well, you're right, I do. Before I get into that, I'll let that water do its job. The Quintessential comes with a little card wrapped around the neck with a little string there. And telling you where it came from. It's got a little faux signature from Master Distiller Jeff Quint. Quintessential, Jeff Quint, huh? And it actually shows you their process here. It shows you a little diagram. I don't know if you can see that. That shows you the process it goes to with the distilling, which barrels it goes in. They have 2 treatments that they age it in. They age it in whiskey barrels. And they also do a second treatment in rum, in various wine barrels for a few years. So the overall age of this, let's see if I can figure this out. 5, 6, 7, 8, probably about 10 years, give or take. Yeah, this is about 10 years that they do all of this. And it's double distilled, which is super interesting. There's a little story about it, and I'll let you guys know about that at another time. But for now, let's go ahead and give the Quintessential a taste. Nice, good smell. Very deep. Very deep, very smooth, but also very deep. And it goes right down into your chest and creates a little warm spot. Not a whole lot on the numbing effect that a lot of whiskeys have. The peat is subtle, but it is there. It's subtle in a way that it doesn't overwhelm you when you first get it in there, but as it sits, you can get that post-drink peaty taste that just kind of settles around your tongue at the bottom of your mouth. A little bit of salivation too. Anything that's got a little bit of salivation is good to have with a meal. Your drier spirits tend to be good as is on their own, but anything that causes a little bit of your mouth to kind of start salivating a little bit and gets those your taste buds really flowing. That's usually good to have with a meal. And so this would be an excellent choice for a nice dinner. It is a very smooth, very mild overall flavor. A lot of your Mexican whiskey, or Mexican, I don't have any Mexican whiskey, but I know they make some. I've never had any yet. A lot of your American whiskeys tend to be a little harsher because that's just kind of a thing here in the United States. Because most of what we have is bourbon. American whiskey, which is not bourbon on its own, tends to still lean towards the sharpness that bourbons have, and tends to lean towards that kind of heavy, like, hits you real hard in the initial mouthfeel. But this does not. This is nicely mild, but it is it's got a very deep, rich flavor to it. It's not mild in a way that's the kind of unremarkable, like that Glenlivet in the cognac casks that I keep talking about. Which, the more I talk about it, the more remarkable it gets, I suppose. So maybe it's remarkable because of not really being remarkable. Stop saying remarkable. Anyway, but yeah, it's very smooth. It's not quite as smooth as a Canadian whiskey, but it's close. It's very close. It's a lot like an Irish whiskey, but not one of the fiery ones. One of the smoother ones. One of the more syrupy ones. Excuse me there. Pardon me. Had some lunch beforehand, so full belly. Always good to have something in your stomach before you embark on a whiskey journey. So let's go ahead and give it another taste. If you let it linger in your mouth a little bit before you swallow it, you do get a bit of sharpness and some fumes to go up into the sinuses, kind of fill up your mouth there. And then the peat really enters into that. It has kind of a dark chocolate, kind of a coffee bean kind of flavor. Definitely some smokiness, so something roasted, something roasty in there. Hard to pin down an exact flavor combination that I can compare it to. I'm already not very great at describing some of the flavors the way that some people do. Like, I'll read the back of bottles, and you'll find somebody who did tasting notes, and they're like, the subtle hints of orange zest with fresh toffee mixed with your mother's meatloaf, and mashed potatoes on the side wafting out with a touch of tar from the street. It's kind of like, none of that stuff mixed together in a whiskey sounds appetizing. I don't know what you're talking about. But so I'm not good at that kind of a description, because none of that makes any sense to me. My sense of taste is not so profound that I can pick out things like that. So this is it's a bit complex for me, but it's good. I enjoy it. I like it. It's not too sweet. It's not too sharp, but it is a very present flavor. It is definitely a very present flavor. You can tell that there's a lot of care that went into that to give it some good quality whiskey feels, and I really like it. I'm a big fan, and I would like to see more of what Cedar Ridge has in the future. If you're in the Iowa area, because that's where they're from, they're in Iowa, and if you're in that area and you're able to go to the Cedar Ridge Distillery, they will every so often do specific vintages and expressions that you can only buy at the distillery and only in Iowa local stores. You cannot buy it online. You cannot get it anywhere unless somebody's selling one on the secondary market, and that's super, super, super rare, even by market by market standards. Because, like I said, they only market it for sale in that state. So you have to go there to get it. And one of these days, I'd love to do a road trip out to Iowa. I don't know how far it is from here, but I would like to go out to the distillery and try one of their unique batches because they look really incredible. And they're totally different from anything that they put out for the consumer market. But again, you can only get it right there. They will not ship it to you. It's not available online unless you find somebody selling it on the secondary market. And the price is likely to be absolutely ridiculous because if somebody went out of their way to go to the distillery to buy a bottle or two of this for resale, they're looking to make some money. They're not looking just to be like, hey, look at this fantastic thing I got. You want to try it? Here, pennies on the dollar. But no. It's going to be very expensive because they know that it's limited, and that's why they bought it to put it online, because they want to make some money. So, if you're in Iowa, or if you're planning a trip close to Iowa, or, for any reason you're out that ways, then stop by Cedar Ridge Distillery. They make wine as well. They make wine, they make whiskey, they make bourbon. They're the makers of the Slipknot No. 9, which is pretty excellent. I already like that. I've gone through 3 or 4 bottles of the regular No. 9 and 1 bottle of the reserve, and I still have a bottle of the regular and the bottle of the reserves kept in my private stock, just to make sure that it's there in case for some reason I can't get it in the future. So obviously I'm a big fan. Last video I did a bourbon tasting with 3 different bourbons, and one of those bourbons was the Cedar Ridge Iowa Straight Bourbon, which is their version that's not exactly like the No. 9. It's their own recipe, and I think I remember telling you guys that it reminded me of cornbread, like spoon cornbread. The soft kind of, where it's not quite baked, where you put it on your plate with a spoon, and it's just real mealy and sweet corn, and it's good stuff. It doesn't exactly taste like that, but it reminds me of that. That's what my taste buds tell me when I'm taking it in. So I guess in that aspect, I'm kind of like those people who write those tasting reviews, and it's kind of like buttered nuts with raspberries that have been dipped in butter for 3 months and then left to rot. I don't know. You read some of those descriptions, and that's how they read. It's like, is this supposed to sound like I'm gonna like it? I don't know. I don't know if I want rotten butter berries. So, anyway, that's the Cedar Ridge American Single Malt Whiskey, the Quintessential. The Quintessential, named after Mr. Jeff Quint. Quintessential. There you go. I made the link for you again so that you do not forget. But great stuff. And the customer service from these guys is fantastic, by the way. When I got my last bottle of Quintessential, which was my first bottle, I put in an order for that and for the Slipknot No. 9 and the No. 9 Reserve. And it had been a pre-order, which I knew, okay, so, because they were upcoming, they had just done a fresh batch, and it was going to take a while, so I said, okay, so I put in a pre-order, and I waited, and I waited. And I knew it was going to be a while, I just didn't know when. And eventually, after quite a long time, like maybe, I don't know, a few months down the road, they were talking about it on Facebook. They were doing some posts about it. And I was like, I commented to them, like, I can't wait, I'm looking forward to it, I've had it on pre-order for a while, oh man, it's delicious. When exactly do you guys think you can start shipping out? Any idea? And I wasn't trying to be like needling, like poking at them, like, hey, where's my whiskey? I'm gonna write a bad Yelp review. I wasn't trying to do that. I was just, asking, hey, any idea, any ETA? Because it's been a while, and I get it. Don't want to complain. And they were super cool about it. They were like, hey, we're just trying to make sure we get our distributors in orders so that we can make sure we get it to you, because Ohio is a tricky spot to send stuff to. And they said, hey, you know what? Can we send you some stuff? And I'm like, sure. Okay. I mean, you don't have to, but you can. So I sent them my address, and they sent me a Slipknot number 9 whiskey t-shirt that matched to the label on the bottle. They sent me a spare label so that I have one to show off. They sent me some coasters. Oh, it was a great little care package, and it was unnecessary. It was 100% not necessary, but it was great that they were trying to go out of their way to be like, we know it's taken a long time. You weren't really complaining, but you know what? You've been a great customer, so here's some free stuff. And I was just like, you guys are awesome. And eventually the order did get here. I was glad to get it. Did some tastings. And this time around, this order was much faster. For one thing, it wasn't a pre-order, of course. And for another, I think they have their distribution network more set up. This was also, you know, the last year has been pretty tricky. Even the first part of this year was pretty tricky as far as all the various restrictions across the United States and everything. And with trying to ship things, it was kind of like madness. You never really knew if something was going to get through on time or not. You didn't know if you'd have to sign for it or not, because sometimes they didn't want you touching anything. They didn't want you breathing on anything, you know. So it's been so crazy with all that, especially here in Ohio, because they don't seem to know exactly what they want to do week by week here as far as any of that stuff goes. And that's the farthest I'm going to get into that. I don't want to get into, you know, any sort of political or virusy talk. That's not what this is for. So, but yeah, the second order came through much faster. So if you're looking to order from them, it's a good time to do it. I'm sure they have a lot of stock. It's well worth it. It's great stuff. It's delicious. Everything I've had from them is great. The Quintessential here is awesome, especially if you like peat. And this bottle was, I'm trying to remember what the price was. I think, because most of the regular bottles, their Iowa whiskeys are in the neighborhood of like $60, $70. I believe this was like $85, $90, maybe, before shipping, of course. So it wasn't cheap. It wasn't, you know, it's not super really expensive, but it wasn't particularly cheap. So, but it is worth getting. And as far as I'm aware, it's also a limited edition. I don't think they're going to make this forever. The bottle says limited edition. It says batch number 4. But I don't know how different each batch is from each other. I believe my last batch was the same as this. It was batch number 4 as well, because it was from this run. So, like all limited edition things, I always tell you, try to stock up now rather than later if you have the money, because prices will go up as stocks go lower. Because the secondary market will start buying everything up, and then once the distillery is out of it and it's out of production, all you've got is the secondary market, and then they will take everything that you have. A lot of stuff I've had to get on the secondary market. I try to get things directly from stores, which are a little bit better because they still have to be within whatever their state's guidelines are on alcohol prices. But yeah, it can be very, very, very expensive to find something that's a limited edition on the secondary market. So keep that in mind. So that's it. That's the Cedar Ridge Quintessential out of my Bruichladdich Glencairn glasses. Good stuff. Delicious. I don't know what I have on deck for the next video. I think I've tasted almost everything that I have available to taste right now that's not been opened. The only thing I have not opened is the Legend, or the Legend, or however they want to say it. Because Rob expressed some interest in trying that. So I might do a combined tasting video sometime in the near future with him along, so that you guys can see that. That one's a pretty interesting bottle too. There's some interesting story that goes along with that, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out in the expression itself as far as the taste goes. So other than that, I don't have anything on the ball right now. But I bet in the next few weeks, I will definitely be making another stop at the grocery store or making another order, and then I'll have something else new for you guys to try. I'm probably going to get into some cognacs very soon here. I'll probably get into some cognacs for a change of pace. because they drink a little bit like a whiskey. They're kind of like a whiskey and kind of like a rum, actually. A little bit of both worlds because they're sweeter, but they got the smoothness of whiskey. So keep an eye out for that. I may also do some speaking of rum, I might do some rum tastings. Somewhere in the future, I've got to do some vodka tastings. I'm not really looking forward to it because I've never really been a vodka fan. I just don't really like it much. But in the interest of fairness, I'd like to do some vodka videos for you guys. Just you guys, you know, fill that vodka itch, I suppose. Maybe some tequila videos. I'm not always a big fan of all different tequilas either. That's kind of specific. I really like the Teremana, which I've already done at least once or twice for you guys. But might do a few more of those. Might try to get some Patron or some 1800 or something like that, or some other lesser known tequilas, that sort of thing. So keep your eyes open. I'm going to be doing a lot, and I am still trying to get in some interviews and things like that, just trying to balance all my time and all that, because got a lot of stuff going on. And that, and I also would like to do more beer videos also, because I know the beers tend to get a little neglected. I've only done 1 or 2 beer videos for you guys. I did one, and I think that was my Boilermaker episode where I did Boilermakers with the Guinness Nitro Cold Brew, which is good after, you know, I got used to it. I'd still would rather have regular Guinness, but it wasn't bad. So there's that, and then the other video that Rob and I did when we did the 6-pack variety pack from our local store, and did a variety of beers. So I got to post that up at some point. But I would like to do more beer videos. I don't think I'll be doing some things like, you probably won't see me doing like a Coors video or a Budweiser video or anything like that. It's going to be more craft stuff or something like that that's not mainstream beers, because I don't know, I just don't get into the basic American lager stuff. And it all tastes kind of the same to me. It tastes kind of like just, yep, drinking a beer. So you'll probably see more craft things. I may even force myself to drink some IPAs for you, which is dedication, because I don't like IPAs. I don't like them at all. But that's on deck. So cognacs, vodkas eventually. Tequilas, beers. There's a few other spirits out there that don't fit either of those either that I might try to get into. Like I just saw one that's based off of a Greek spirit that I'd never heard of, that I'm interested in. I don't know the price though, but I am interested in it. I did get the poachine, the Irish poachine, that one time, and I still have a bottle over in the collection. And Rob loved it. I'm not feeling it. It tasted like sake to him, which is another thing probably I should add to the list. I probably should add more sake, but I'm not really a big fan of sake either. It is too sweet. It does things to my stomach, but I'll probably do some tastings for you guys anyway, because it's for you guys, right? I'll have some discomfort so you can watch me drink some things that I don't like. Mezcal. Some mezcal. I got to get some of that on the list, and who knows? Who knows what else I might find? But I have dragged this video out much farther than the initial tasting, so I should probably get going. Again, keep your eyes open. I'm going to see when I can get my next supply for tasting, and then hopefully it's something exciting. Hopefully you guys tune in. I know the videos are kind of random still. I'm trying to pin down a day per week, then I can actually do everything on the regulars so you get used to it. So you can be like, oh, let's tune in. He's going to be drinking today. Until then, just keep an eye on the page, This Uncanny Spirits Club. If you have any questions or suggestions, or if you want me to drink something specific, email me, uncannyspiritsclub@gmail.com. That's a special email address just for this show. It goes straight to me. And I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. I would love to hear what you suggest that I should try. As long as it's something I can get a hold of, either at the store or that I can order, I will definitely do my best to accommodate you. And I will probably mention you in these videos if you mention something that I drink here. So if Jim Bob says, "Hey, try that mezcal, it's fantastic," and I order a bottle of that mezcal, whatever it is, and I'll say, "Hey, Jim Bob from Wisconsin, he recommended this mezcal for me. Good on you, Jim Bob." That's just an example. I don't know any Jim Bobs. No offense to any real Jim Bobs out there. It's a fine name. Truly. Please don't ask if I'll start drinking any White Claws, because I don't want to. I don't want to drink any seltzers. I don't. I might, just for you guys, but I don't want to. I really don't. You never know. Uncanny Spirits Club. Interviews coming up soon. With any luck, Missing Falls Brewery from Akron, Ohio will be my first interview. I still have to get in touch with them and actually ask them about it. But that's on deck. Okay? Till next time. Cheers. Delicious.